Labour MP Diane Abbot has now entered the race for the party leadership, and she explained that in her view there was little to choose from politically between the other front-runners. Ms Abbott is one of 6 Labour MPs to put their names forward so far. The others are the brothers David and Ed Miliband, the former school secretary Ed Balls, the former health secretary Andy Burnham and the left-wing MP John McDonnell. So that's the list. We're going to talk now to Diane Abbott, who's at Westminster. It's good to have you with us, Diane. Good evening.
Hi.
Why are you standing?
Because so many people asked me to stand, because a lot of people were concerned that although the frontrunners are all great people and make good leaders of the party, they didn't represent the diversity of the modern Labour Party and the modern Labour movement. And the problem was, unless you had a more diverse group of candidates, there were issues which the Labour Party and the public want to discuss, which would be left off the table.
Is it true that you're basically saying that Ed Balls and David and Ed Miliband and Andy Burnham, John McDonnell, they're not prepared to discuss the full range of issues? They'd probably take issue with that. Well,
if you're talking about the front runners, we've not discussed civil liberties properly, and I think it's appalling, really, that we've allowed the Tories to position themselves to the left of us on civil liberties. We're having a debate around immigration, which I'm uncomfortable with, because we're coming close to saying that it was immigration that lost us the last general election. I don't believe that's true. But we're not dealing with the real issues around black and white working class insecurity. I voted against the war. We're not having a debate around our place in the world, and while we're stuck in a war in Afghanistan, which we don't seem to be able to win, there's a lot of issues that just aren't being debated because the front runners are so close together in their thinking.
But you're ready to acknowledge that immigration was certainly a factor in Labour losing the election?
Well, I think a sense amongst the working class, both black and white, that the Labour Party was no longer speaking for them, it was speaking at them. That was clearly an issue, and it may have manifested itself in grumbling about the most recent immigrants, but the real issues was lack of housing, lack of jobs, and the chipping away at the welfare state, which made people feel very insecure.
When you talk about insecurity, it feeds in different ways, of course. Economic insecurity, principally, which you just referred to there. I'm bringing up immigration again because lots of your colleagues have brought it up as one of the things that they came up against but felt unable to raise in a meaningful way, for all kinds of reasons. Why do you think that is?
Well, I don't know why, because as Labour MPs we had plenty of briefings about the new systems we were introducing, as ministers that have known in much greater detail about that. It's not that they couldn't address the issue, it's that they weren't prepared to address the underlying issues about housing and jobs. That's the problem.
I'm assuming, Dan, if I could just change the subject for a second to the logistics of the election, you're confident you'll get the 33 names you need?
And I believe we're on track to get 33 names, particularly now that the time period to get the 33 names has been extended. And I believe that my strength in this contest is I can get support from the left, but I can also get support from women and black and minority candidates who believe we can't have this pivotal debate around the future of the Labour Party and not have equality as part of that debate.
And when you talk about the front runners, are you including yourself in that category?
No, I'm talking about Ed Miliband, who's a marvellous candidate, David Miliband, whose brother is another marvellous candidate, Ed Balls, who's also marvellous, and of course Andy Burnham, who of course all play football together. I mean, we must be able to recruit a leader from a slightly wider gene pool than that.
Well, maybe. I'm just wondering, in that sense, what are your chances of winning then? You must have done lots of canvassing and taking the temperature. What are your chances?
Well, all I know is that in the recent general election, I doubled my majority. None of my competitors can say that. And I believe that if I'm on the ballot paper, I can give the frontrunners a real run for their money.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk again in the coming weeks, but Diane Abbott, for now, thank you very much. Diane Abbott, one of the latest to join the race for the Labour leadership.